If you want to learn how to do an easy everyday soft glam, then please keep watching. So I start off with the P. Louise Eyeshadow Base Shade 2. This is perfect for carving out the brows because it literally covers all veins, blemishes, any discoloration, and it's perfect for an eyeshadow base. Now I don't do much to the brows as I am growing them out at the moment, so I'm not going to fill them in. I just want them to look as fluffy and as natural as possible because we are doing a quarantine-ish everyday soft glam at the moment, so you don't want to do too much, but you also want it to look glam. I'm going to do the other eyebrow off camera just because it's the exact same steps, just on the other eye. After I've done this, I just take a fluffy brush, blend it in at the front of the brow, and then I blend the edges out as well. Then all I'm doing is patting over the eyeshadow base just to set it and make it a bit more seamless. The next step is to carve out the top of the brow. I take the same P. Louise Base Shade 2 and mix this on the back of my hand with the Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation in the shade 220. I prefer to mix the P. Louise base with the foundation to make it a thicker consistency to match under the brow, but also still keeping your foundation shade so that when you do place the foundation on top of it, it mixes perfectly. I'll just do the other eyebrow off camera because it's the exact same steps as this one as well. I will then reach for the same fluffy blender brush again, but I only blend out the product on my forehead and also between the brows to give them a more feathered look. All I do next is take the rest of that mix that I made earlier, put it on a beauty blender and press it into the areas of the skin that I wish to conceal. The reason I do this is because it is a thicker consistency, as I mentioned, so this covers up any blemishes or discoloration, and it kind of creates a blank canvas ready for when we put the foundation on next. I'll just take the same foundation that I used previously, which is the Fit Me Matte and Poreless 220 shade, and just put it all over the face using a beauty blender. I just quickly take a fluffy brush and blend the foundation down the neck and over the ears. I use a brush for this part just because I want it to look more flawless and airbrushed, and I don't want too much product there. I just want it to look the same colour as the skin. Now the next step is weird, but I got this from P. Louise herself. She uses her eyeshadow bases as concealers. They work perfectly. It doesn't crease, it's so thick that it covers everything and it blends out amazing. My camera did cut out when I was putting the powder on top of it. The best powder that I use is the Fit Me pressed powder in the shade 105. In my opinion, this powder with this eyeshadow base under the eyes is a perfect combination. It looks so smooth and airbrushed. As you can see, I have done lines by my eyes as it creates a more cat eye effect. I do not blend these in apart from when I'm doing the eyeshadow. So blend everything else out with the beauty blender and leave those lines. I then go back in with the P. Louise base just to cover up any other areas that I want to, so a bit more under the eye, a bit on the forehead, down the nose, and if you want you can do on like the chin. Some people do under their contour, so under the cheekbones, it just wherever you would usually conceal. And then again, just blend it with a beauty blender. Now Now with your favourite contour brush, take the Revolution foundation stick in the shade 16 and buff it in wherever you like to contour. Now my camera did stop recording. All I did was buff it in my cheeks, some on the forehead, and then set it all with that powder that I mentioned, and then wipe it away. I didn't blend in the concealer on the nose previously. All I do is take my powder brush and slightly blend it in once it's set, and that way it looks more contoured without having to actually contour your nose. Now take your favourite bronzer and just add it on top of the contour that we did previously. I do leave the area where I put the concealer lines by my eyes, as it gives it more of a cat eye effect, so all of that is still blank. I add some powder under the lips just to make them look bigger, and slightly down the sides of my nose. Also under the chin to make it look more snatched, and then buff it all in. Now using the same bronzer shade and your favourite blender brush, you just go over the lines that you created, so just above them and slightly over them to blend them in. Then take the Carly Bieber palette and using the shade Chai, I take anything with a straight edge and just buff over those lines again, but then I bring it onto the eyelid as well, just the outer corner. I am also buffing it onto the bottom lash line outer edge as well. Buff it into the crease as well. I just use my bronzer brush, as it's still virtually the same shade, and blend over it a bit more. The next shade I'm using from the palette is the shade Bowie. I use the same technique, so with the flat edge, and just buff it out into the outer corner. Still the same shade, I'm just going back in and buffing it out a bit more. The next shade that I'm using from the palette is the shade Moo. This just goes on the lid all over, just to give it a golden bronzed look. Then just blend it all in with your blender brush. I'll just take the same shade on my finger and place that in the inner corners just to highlight them a bit. Any setting spray for the next part will do. Just spray it on the brush with the same shade and just pop it all over the lid and the inner corner just to make it pop a bit more. Now take a flat brush and put it in the same shade Bowie. Kind of do a wing liner effect, but smoke it out so it doesn't have to be perfect, and then drag it with your finger to pull it out a bit more. As I didn't put any product through the brows, I'm just going to take a spoolie and brush them up. Usually they are laminated, but obviously quarantine, no one's got their eyebrows done. So you just brush them through to make them fluffy. time for the best part. So take your favourite highlighter brush and the Carnival Pro palette. I take the two shades, so the bottom one and the top one, and I spray my face first just to set it, and then I put my highlighter wherever you prefer. I like mine on my cheeks, my forehead, on the nose, and I think that's about it. Oh, and the brow bone. For highlighter on the nose, I do a kind of exclamation mark kind of sign. So I do a dot on the bottom and then I do a line down the bridge. On the brow bone, I just take a fluffy brush and buff it all over the brow bone. I do sometimes do at the front of the brow as well, just underneath. It just makes it more highlighted, and as we haven't put any product in, it kind of accentuates the brow a bit. Now for my holy grail of mascaras. It's called False Lash Queen by Primark. Now, I'm not going to put any false lashes on because we are doing an everyday quarantine look, so you don't want to waste your lashes. Now, no look would be complete without blusher. I don't use normal blush shades. I do sometimes, but I prefer to use eyeshadow shades. Like, I literally just mix about 4 different shades together and then I dab them onto the skin. That way it's not too harsh and it looks flawless on the face. This is just a bit of a personal preference. I like it on the bridge of my nose as well and on the forehead. And then I take my powder brush and blend it all together. Just adding a bit of highlighter as well above the blusher. Now this is my favourite lip combination. It is so affordable and so easy to do. I just take the lip liner from Primark in the shade Spice, my foundation shade, and also some Vaseline. So I just line my lips normally and then I slightly overline them as well. Then I just take my foundation shade and pat it onto the lips, make sure it's blended in. Clearly my favourite song come on, but I just take the Vaseline and rub it all over my lips, like so it's like a gloss, and then the lips are done. Now time for the hair. My hair is so thick and long, it is hard to maintain. So all I do is section it into, I think I did 3 or 4 sections. I take the Remington straighteners. The bottom section I leave out and then I put the rest up. I straighten the hair from the root to about 2/3 down the hair and I leave the bottom third to last, and then I curl it with the straightener. It's hard to explain how to curl your hair with straighteners, but you just put it in as if you're going to straighten it, and then you flick the hair around to the other side of the straightener and pull down. Once I've done this, I then wrap the hair around the straightener and then I let it go, and it creates a blow dried looking curl instead of a tight curl. I'll do the same thing with the rest of the hair, just always making sure it goes away from the face instead of towards the face. So I'll just speed this bit up and then I'll get back to you when I'm doing the top. With the top piece, I section it into about 4. I straighten towards the front of my face, and then again 2/3 down the hair, I'll then curl it backwards. So this final piece, you'll see I have some snapped hair. This is just from some old bleaching that I did, and I decided to dye it dark again. I'll just do the exact same technique, and then the hair is fully curled. Once this is all done, you can style it however you want. I will show you how to do a half up, half down. That's just how I wanted it today, but you can just leave it down curly to the side. Finally, I just take a small section on the top and then I put a bobble in it and then I just tighten it. You can either have it so that it is very high up on the head, or you can have it so that it's kind of at the back of the head, pulled tight. I prefer it on the top of the head so it looks bigger. And that is the finished look. I hope you all loved it. As usual, like, subscribe and share, and comment what you'd love to see next. Bye!